Now we have completed our sales tab. We are ready for the fourth part, which is the inventory tab. To make it easier, we're going to duplicate the receive tab here. So right click on move or copy, put it to the end, create a copy, and confirm. Here we will rename this to inventory, and confirm. So what's the goal of the inventory? Well, very simple. We want to check within minutes or seconds how much stock we have left. This is like a bird's eye view of how many items we have in stock, how many we, or more importantly, how many we ordered, how many we sold, and what's left. And what's left is basically our stock. So let's start and work on that. So first of all, let's look at the first one here, the SKU, or the stock keeping unit, which is correct. We will leave this. We will only do one adjustment here. The next one, description, we will maintain. The package size, we will maintain. The one we will adjust is this one here. This needs to be readjusted, and this will be adjusted to the purchase unit. And once we have that, we also need to calculate the purchase item. Just to make sure, what's the difference? Well, the purchase unit is basically the box, which contains 24 cans of Cokes, and the purchase item will be the multiplier of the package size multiplied by purchase unit. And the reason why this becomes important is because you are selling in a shop as a retailer. You're selling the item and not a box, because you're not probably a wholesaler. If you are, then that's a different story. However, this part here, we will just focus for this for now, because this is really for the retailer. So once you have that, we're going for the next item. And the next item is here. We're going to search how many items has been sold. We want to know how many items has been sold. And once we know how many items has been sold, we can figure out by purchase items minus items sold equals items left. So this is what is items in stock, or items in stock. And once we have this, we have here the total cost. And finally, what we have left in value. So basically, how many items in stock we have will be indicated here as a value. So to do that, we will say estimate stock value, indicating that we have an estimate. Alright, so I'll make this proper. And then now let's go back here. We have this here, and what we're going to do now is we're going to remove this, because we don't want this drop down here. Why? We only want the SKU unit, or the stock keeping unit value here. So we want only the ID, the item ID is probably a better way to say it. And we can use this here, having them all, or you can get it from here. And the reason why I would say it should be from here is just for one reason only. Why? Here you record everything what comes in. Maybe you have your item that you did not add yet up in your inventory, so they haven't been in your inventory at all. And here you track everything what comes in. So this is the place where you should start your formula. So we go here, and what we do here first is we have to remove this option here, because this is not necessary. Once we select all these cells, and we're going to go back to we click on the data tab, and we select, once we click on this, we select data validation, and we're going to clear out the data validation. Once you click on this, you get the option here, confirm here by pressing clear and confirm. Alright, so now it is clear. What we want now is all the unique values that we have received. So all these item IDs that we have received. So we say here equal unique, this is a function, open brackets or open parentheses, and then we select here the array with the unique value. So we select this, we go to receive, and we select all of these here, all down here to the bottom. Even if you have double, do not worry, it will automatically filter out the double ones. Once we did this, we will ignore all the other options. We say comma and comma, or you can say here false, comma, false because we don't need anything else. You only need the front one for us, the first part, which is the array. You will understand it will filter out everything what's duplicate. Confirm. And right now you see here, we get some errors here, but that's not a problem as well. So we're going to check here what's going to happen. Let's delete this and we will check here one more time. Oh yeah, of course. Because our data is here, that's why it gives a spill error. So once we remove this, then we get the right values. Let's remove this as well to avoid any issues. So basically what happens is it will continue on, but it will give a warning if it overwrites or if it will or would overwrite any values. So now we have this. We have these here as well, and this is all fine. So what happened if we go back to our receive, and we select here again Coke. We say here and 5 and here 10. So if we see here and we go to the inventory, nothing happens here. Alright, so this maintains all the same. So what we need to do next is, of course, we need to sum up all the values of our receive, which has been recorded, for example, for the Coke, and for every item here. So what we do here is the sum if option. So what we do here now is we type in equal sum if, and then we start to select the range. So what is the range? Let's go back to receive, and here we have the range. This is the range that we need, and we can start from A2 all down to A30. Alright, and we will freeze these cells because we will be needing this formula one more time, comma. Then what we need is the criteria. What is the criteria? Well, simply here. This SKU, or the stock keeping unit, comma, sum range. Well, what's the sum range? Well, the sum range in this case is this item here. We select all of these, and we will also freeze these cells by putting dollar symbols in front of them, and enter. So once we did that, we have this. You can see now we have 9 purchasing units of Coca-Cola cans. Let's see if that is correct. We have here Coca-Cola can, that is 5, 3, and 1. That is correct. So if I would make this instead of 1, I make 2. So we should have, instead of 9, we should have now 10. And there you are. So this works perfect. Let's scroll this down all to the bottom to duplicate this. Alright. And once we do this, we need to do exactly the same for the purchasing item. So what we'll do is we can just copy basically this formula, go back in here, escape, click on this cell, we will paste this again, and the only thing what we will do after is we're going to check where is the value we need, because we will need another value which is not the quantity unit but the quantity item. So that is what we need, and this is in E2 up till E30. Alright. So what we're going to do is here, go back, and then we will get this formula here. You see here the sum if, receive. We just change this to E2 and E for echo 30. Confirm this, which is correct. Basically, you could also multiply these two together, it doesn't matter. Alright, so once we have this, now we need to figure out item sold. Item sold is exactly the same as what we did with the receiving, but then for the sales tab. So what we have to do here is we do sum if, open, parentheses, and then we select the range. So what is the range? Let's go back here. We have here the range. We select this. Then we have comma. And then we need to select here the criteria. The criteria is this item here. Comma. Then we go back to the sales and we want the item sold. Here the quantity item, and then we can select these here. And once we're done with that, you can type here enter, but we need to freeze the cell. So I'm going to click back on this one here, and here what we're going to do is we just add in here the dollar signs or the dollar symbol just to freeze this or lock this into place once we start to drag the formula. So now we're going to drag the formula all down to the cells. There we are, and here we have now our information. So once we have this, Then we have to look at the next one here. And we see here copy cells. What is this? We just ignore that. We can ignore it for now. So what we have here is this. We have here the items sold. So according to this here, we have sold 4 Coca-Colas in total. We sold here 4 Coca-Cola. That is correct. So how many would be in stock? Well, basically, the amount of items we purchased minus the amount of items we sold equals items in stock. Well, this is not always the case, and I will make that later on. We will just drag this for now, and I will explain. Alright, so once we have this, and this is also a formula, we got this here. And this here will be now also colored into gray. Alright, so once we have this gray and this gray, we have to look here now in the estimate stock value. So the estimate stock value, this was a date, and this date was fixed. So remember, if we would put in any other value, it doesn't allow. So what we need to do is we need to remove this here first. So the data validation needs to be undone. So select all the cells here. Go to data, click on data validation, and clear them all, confirm. So now we're done. So let's remove this and let's say test. There you are. No error anymore. That's fine. So what is the estimate stock value? Oh, before we even continue that, we need to have the total cost of the value as well. The total. These two have to be done as well. So let's start with that first. So what is the total cost? Well, the total cost will be as well here. Sum if. Then we have again the range value. You can see that we're doing it very consistently. We'll get this one first. This is the range value. And comma. Criteria. What's the criteria? Well, the criteria is here. This cell here. Comma. Go back to receive. And here we need to get the cost per unit. And we will select this if I'm correct. Yes. There you are. And then close. Enter. So now we have the total cost per unit. And what we want to do here is the following. We want to make sure that this is fixed. So we're going to put in the dollar signs. And then I realize we need to add still one more item here, which would be the cost per item itself. But we will drag this first, and then after we will add that up. So now here we can insert another one, and we also call this cost per item. And how will we calculate the cost per item? Is basically our cost per unit divided by the total items, the total purchased items. That's this. And so it means that 1 can of soda is 8 cents. Well, that's quite cheap. Probably that's too unrealistic, but you get the point. Alright, so we have this here, and I drag this now down, and of course we get an error, so we need to say if error, open parentheses, comma here, and then double quotations, and there we are. Let's double click on this, and now we don't see the error anymore. Alright, so we're very close now to the final part, which is the estimate stock value. So how can you calculate the estimate stock value? Well, this is quite easy. Once you know how much is in stock and how much an item costs, you can easily calculate the value, which is this times that. So you can see here it gets a date value. Do not worry about this because we had one time inserted a date somewhere here. So we have to readjust this, of course, and let's reformat this into a comma, and this is the value of it. Alright, so this is the value, and then we have them here as well, and then we can do here as well the if error function, comma, double quotation, and that, and then here. So to make sure if we're correct, we can calculate here if this times 4 would be, oh, and you can see here, same issue. Let's just drag this here. It's 32 cents, and that's correct. If we do 32 cents here, this would add up into $19, which is the total cost of the product. and this is correct. Alright, so now we have this formula here. Let's make sure that this is also in a nice gray color. I think it was the correct gray color. Oh, no, not even. Let me double check here. That was this. Alright, so we can just here select this, put it in here. Alright, and same here as well. Let's correct this. So now we have all these items in here, and we are basically done. However, there's still something that we can do. And this here as well, as you can see here, all of these should be gray because this is 100% formula only. So what would happen if we would add up new items? So let's say we get new Coca-Cola 1, alright. We get new Coca-Cola cans, and this time we have a big order of 100 pieces. And they cost also a fortune today. And there you are. Okay, we see the price. And let's go now back to our inventory. We can see our Coca-Cola cans has increased the total cost. You can see everything is matching, and we have we have purchased over 2,600 items, or 110 boxes basically. So what would happen if we sold here 2,000 items? Enter. There we are. We sold that many items. What we have still left in stock is 638. You can see here, I realize that this should be readjusted without any decimals, because these are complete units. Alright, so we've got this now, and we're almost done, because maybe you say, well, wait a minute, what if we have missing items? What if some products are broken goods? How can we add them in here? Good question. We will create a special tab for stolen goods, lost goods, spillage, spoilage, whatever you call it. That will be next one.